we will start with showing some practical, which I already promised twice, but I forgot. We will start with the complex exercise, which we use as a warm-up exercise for our strength training sessions. It comprises of 5 different exercises with a bar. Yeah, sure. So the first exercise is down from the knees up to the chest. Start down to starting position and up on your toes. That we will do 6 times, and then all the way up on straight arms without stopping. All the way up in one movement. In one movement. One movement. Okay. Then we do squat and push press. Squat and push press. Separate your feet. Squat and push press. Yeah, and push up. Up on your toes. And from there, exercise number 4 is good morning. Straight back 6 times. And exercise number 5 is bent forward rowing. So each of these 5 exercises we repeat 6 times. So 30 repetitions total. Continuous, not explosive. Control and continuous. It's a good warm-up exercise for any other work for strength or power. And this now 2 to 3 times. Normally 2 to 3 times. If it's a good also to learning the technique, then they can do 3 to 4 times. Otherwise, 2 to 3 times is enough for a good warm. So before this, just a little warm up, raise the temperature for 5 minutes, little dynamic exercises, and then they can go directly with this exercise. Kima will show some common mistakes. There, wait, I have to see you. There you see, when you lift the bar, never lift with your back. So bend your knees, sit down, and lift from your legs. This with the bar only, it's maybe not that important if it's a little strong, but if you have weights on, this is very important. You can show again. Show again. So yeah. So we imagine we have a heavy weight, and then down and lift with the legs. Yeah. So here you turn sideways, because they will not be able to see you. Here it's important. You see here that the bar is in front of me, and the bar should go straight up behind your ears. You can show a correct one. There. You see this position. So we hold the bar in balance. So we have the weight in between our front and back. Yeah. So we show the starting position. If you turn a little bit sideways. So the starting position for clean and snatch and many exercises. This is the starting position where we have the shoulders in front of the yeah, and the knees straight down to the floor. Show a wrong position where you sit down. So this is very common. This is very common that they put the knees forward and they sit down. Instead of putting the knees back and getting a good jumping position to be able to boom, jump up the weight. You can show a clean from starting position and then jump up the weight in an explosive manner. Okay, so obviously this exercise is pretty technical, but we'll show you four exercises which you can start with, any kids, and maybe not start with the bar, but start with a stick. So one is the push press. You put the bar on the shoulders and push it up from the legs. Push up on your toes. There. So the push press is an easy exercise. From then we can go down in a squat, sitting down, open up your feet without falling forward, back as straight. From there, they can try overhead squat. They put the bar or the stick on straight arms, Keep it there. Straight arms. Straight arms. Keep them straight arms and go down. Yes. Overhead squat. And if you want to start with the first little explosive exercise, we start from the neck and we do a kick jerk from neck. Jump up. There we have kick jerk from neck. So there are 4 simple exercises which are not too technical, which they can start with the stick to get familiar, then with the bar, and ultimately a bar with some light weights, and then with some medium weights, and so on. We put some questions in the group chat. We'll try to answer. Meanwhile, we'll repeat the exercises. So as a little reminder. Okay, so we said the first one, exercise push press. So from here, I push from the ground and get up on straight arms. Here. That's the slight push here, up on my toes, and get the bar up. That's a good starting exercise. The squat, they open up a little bit, so I'm able to sit down. And here I will try to go down as low as possible. Here, and try to maintain my back as straight as possible. Here, and be balanced without falling forward like this, but get a good balance. If they can do that, they can try on straight arm. Now this is heavy, it's 104 grams, but how low I can go without losing my balance. Something like this. And then we said the third exercise, little explosive jerk from neck. So I keep the weight here, and then we jump up the weight and get it up on straight arms. And if possible, I will try to sit down. Like this. Now we have a good question. Okay. So these are some simple exercises which are not that difficult. The last one is the most technical with a little hand and foot coordination, but good exercise to start.
How long is the taper?
Question: how long is the taper period? Okay, it's a totally different subject. So it depends. You have the possibility for a major competition. 3 weeks is the best, but that one you can only do 1 or 2 times per year. If you don't know your boxers, then you can do 2 weeks. So if you don't know the taper boxers, usually 2 weeks. But if you have the possibility and know your boxers, and most then you can have a good taper with 3 weeks. And then if you have many competitions, you do small tapers of 1 week of 3 days. So minor competitions, no need to go for taper or long taper.
Which one is good for making back strong? Well,
Yeah, okay. Which one exercise is good for making back strong? So, okay, so this exercise is very good. The squat, overhead squat, is a very good core exercise. Back exercise where you work on trapezius, or how you call this, where you lift your upper body, also good for back. I don't remember the name in English. Question from Ibrahim: if an athlete doesn't have, give me a second. Okay, oh, wait. Overhead squat. How far may the knees go past the toes? How deep do they bend? Okay, so this is a very common mistake. This only place I've heard here in India, when they say that the knees should not go in front of the toes. I said that is impossible. If I want to sit down, sorry. If I want to sit down, it's impossible. I don't go forward with the knees. So I want to sit down properly. Here, look, my knees have to go in front of the feet. Otherwise, I will pull backward. So I cannot think of trying to maintain my knees back, because I will lose my balance. So I need to have my body weight a bit forward, 50-50 here. And that I need the knees to go forward. And I will try to sit down as my flexibility allows me. So many people have problems to come down because the flexibility is bad. So what we actually do then, we put a small weight here to help them come down. And if you look at weightlifting shoes, they're very thick. They have high control. So already when they start normal, they are all up here, which helps them come down properly here. The toes, yes, it's the same thing here. Another misunderstanding, that the toes point forward. If they point forward, it's difficult to maintain my balance. So I need to, number one, little wider than the shoulders. I get my ass down and open up a little bit here, so I can sit down comfortable. The important thing here is that the feet and the knees go in the same direction here. So this is very common, especially among girls who are not very strong. This can happen. There you have to be careful. The knees and the feet in the same direction.
Shorts also very important.
Yeah, very important. I came for civil today. Let's see if we can get Kevin here.
Yeah, he's writing.
Okay, one more question. Question from Gyandra Sharma. Some or major plyometric and balance exercises just only for boxing, so that the boxer can convert his maximum strength to a specific strength, like explosive and strength endurance. No, the specific is when we do boxing. That is the specific training. So when we punch, we move in fast, in explosive movements. That is the specific. When we punch explosive punches on the bag, maybe on the pads or on school fight or sparring or competition, That is the specific. So when we talk about developing strength or developing power or developing endurance, we don't need to think about specific boxing. We need to build a strong, explosive, and fast boxer. And in the boxing training, there we do the specific training. Okay, Kevin.
Okay, so sorry for all the problems. I'm going to talk today about a very important subject, in my opinion, in combat sports in general, obviously in boxing also, because we are talking about performance, but we are talking about health, and we are actually talking about life. Because the situation is, sorry, I will remove this this annotation, allowing annotation more disable entity. Okay, okay, done. So I'm going to talk about weight management in combat sports, and especially how we approach it as a process, as a system, how we can optimize the weight and the body composition to protect health and to get the best performance possible. So one thing we absolutely have to know about making the weight is that the current practice all around the world that are very common, I know that you know that, involve dehydration. What I'm showing here is an article that has been published by some medical doctors regarding a fatal case, which means that this guy here in this study died because of the drastic weight cutting he did. And the disease was actually a rhabdomyolysis, which is related to the destruction of the muscles due to the lack of water. So this is one threatening situation, and there is also hypothermia. So I wanted to show you a little video. Obviously, I will try to share it, but if it doesn't work, I will not insist. Do you see what I have on my screen right now? So I want to share this with you. Everybody see it now. This is a video of an MMA fighter. As you can see on this video, she can barely stand up. She's in pain. She's struggling. This is not high performance. This is life-threatening situation. If she performs in that stage, she can die because she's so much dehydrated. Yeah, you see how much she is in pain right now. So I will not show the entire video, but obviously she is really in a bad shape at the moment. Look at that. She can barely stand up. Okay, this is not high performance in my opinion. So I'm coming back to my presentation, but this is exactly what we should avoid to get the best performance and protect our athletes. So everything I'm gonna say today is basically to avoid that, and then obviously also to improve high performance. So how we can make it happen? First of all, it's important to know that in high performance, collaboration is essential. We need to have a plan and we need to talk to each other, and that's how everything I'm gonna say can happen. So, okay, what is critical? So to have goals. Whatever I'm gonna say, if you don't have goals, if you don't have assessment, you cannot actually plan it. So it's important to have goals and to plan according to the goals. Obviously, it's important also not to implement a technique. It's valid for training. It's valid for nutrition also. We need to know the rationale why we are doing something. It's very important, and we have to prioritize. You cannot do everything at the same time. In the situation I'm talking about right now, it's very, very important to have a simple assessment, which is gonna be the weight and the body composition with a skin fold caliper or an impedance meter, even if impedance meter is quite tricky due to that in regarding the hydration. But so first of all, to do this, you need a monitoring process. This monitoring process fit into a bigger picture. It's just an example here. I show you whatever we do for the health and performance of our female athletes. And as you can see, this is a system for female health, including a system for training load management, including a system for weight management. So whatever I'm gonna present today is here on the bottom right, but obviously it fits in a bigger picture where everything is organized together. And that's the most important, it's that everything fits together. So how does it work? First of all, we have a concept, I'm gonna explain it in details, which is safe weight loss. To do this safe weight loss, obviously we need to evaluate, we need to assess the athletes. And then based on this assessment, we're gonna have a decision-making tree. And this will tell us what to do and when to do that, and all the actors, all the collaborators involved in the process need to know whatever we're gonna happen. So the concept of safe weight loss, basically it starts from knowing what is the target weight. Okay, what we know is that we can quickly, by several techniques, we can quickly lose around 5% of our body weight without too much consequences. So this is the safe weight loss for acute weight loss, which means whatever you can lose in 1 week, okay, and you are not going to put your life in danger. We can go up to 8%, but above 8%, we consider that if you do bad weight loss technique, above 8% of your body weight, then you can put yourself in a major health risk. So this is the red flag. This is the red zone. You never want an athlete to fall in that category. If there is a bad planning of competitions, and he has to lose more than 8%, then you never know, your athletes may die because of those bad technique of weight loss. So this is the red zone, you never want to go there. So then how does come from the safe weight loss concept? To know the safe weight loss concept, you need to know where you are at this point of time. Okay, let's say you are in the orange zone, which is the zone we can accept in some period of the year, let's say the off season. So you could be something around 7% above your target weight. Okay, nice. And then now you start to use the assessment, because you assess your players, okay, and you know the body fat of your athletes. Then you also have international standards. We know that in very small categories, you should be around 5 to 7% of body fat, where in heavyweight categories, you can go up to 12%. So you choose an optimal body fat according to obviously the specificities of your athletes, but also according to his weight category. And then you calculate if he was at the optimal body fat percentage, what would be his weight with the exact same fat-free mass, muscle mass. And then you have a difference between the current weights. Let's say this athlete is 78 kg at 12% body fat. He could be at, because he's in middle heavyweight category, he could be around 8-9% body fat, so 3% body fat. This 3% body fat is the safe weight loss he can do. So you know that around 3% of body weight can be lost, and this is your scope. What you want, obviously, is that the weight at optimal body fat should be lower than the zone where it's safe to lose acutely some weight with the technique which belongs to the acute weight loss technique. So if this gray line is above the green one here, then it starts to be a problem, because that means that the weight category chosen is not fitting the possibilities of the athletes. So the athletes will have to put his health in at stake to make the weight, and that is a problem, because if health is at stake, performance also. So what is the rationale to drop performance and health to actually fit into a category? There is strong assumption that anyway he would have been more performance in a higher category. So this is the concept we are working with at IAS, and that's what we try to implement as much as possible with our athletes, always telling them what weight is optimal for them according to their current body composition. So based on this classification you see here on the left, we can categorize our athletes like this. And then depending on the situation, let's say the competition is beyond 4 weeks, or before 4 weeks, or beyond 6 weeks, or before 6 weeks, we can decide what we should do. So this is a little bit big, so that's why I zoomed a little bit. Let's say your athlete is in the green zone, so there is no major issue. He can make the weight quite nicely without putting his life in danger. So obviously no intervention, or you figure out that your athlete is actually a little bit fat, so why not do a chronic, slow and progressive optimization of his body composition and with a nutritionist. Okay, and then when your athlete is in the last week before his competition, he can undergo some acute weight loss strategy by skipping some food like carbohydrates food or things like that. If your athlete is in the orange zone, which happens very, very often in combat sports, that's the most common case. Then what we do here is, if the competition is beyond 4 weeks, then we can start a weight loss plan. If we can start the weight loss plan, it means that we diagnose that some fat can be lost. However, sometimes safe weight loss is not possible. So your athlete is actually 7% above the target weight. However, he is already very, very fit. So you need to have a team meeting to decide if the weight category need to be changed. However, if the fat can be lost, okay, let's go for a progressive weight loss plan, and then close to the competition, you can do acute weight loss. If you have less than 4 weeks, then either you can lose fat and you go for an aggressive weight loss plan because you have 4 weeks. And then after this aggressive plan, you go for acute weight loss strategy the last week. But if there is no fat to lose, then what we do? Again, a team meeting is necessary to decide. Do we have to change the weight category? Do we have to cancel the competition? So this needs to happen. Worst case scenario, you are in the 8% zone. Again, same system. If you have more than 6 weeks, why 6 weeks and not 4 weeks like before? Obviously, because the more you are overweight, the more time you need to drop the weight if it's possible. So safe weight loss is possible? No, then definitely you need to think about weight category change. You have less than 6 weeks, competition cancellation, weight category change. That's the same system. If you have less than 6 weeks and you can lose fat, then you have to undergo an aggressive weight loss plan during 6 weeks and then acute weight loss. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about progressive weight loss and aggressive weight loss is a difference in the composition of the diet. There is a lot of scientific studies now that studied especially the protein intake. I'm gonna talk about that. And that's where we can actually manage the diet of our athletes. The more you go, the more you decrease the caloric intake, the more you need to increase the protein intake to keep the muscle mass and keep the immune system function in a good function for your athletes, and keep the sleep, all the bad effect of weight loss. You try to protect your athletes from that with higher protein intake. It has to be optimized, however. So the first priority for us is to keep our athletes within 5% in the green zone, so 5% from the target weight. How we do that? We have an athlete management software, and in that athlete management software, every week or every second week, our athletes are weighted in a standard situation, which is before training, okay? Before breakfast, before training. In that situation, one time a week, the athletes are classified. And so as you can see, they are falling into red zone, orange zone, or green zone. This is a system we put in place with H10. So this tells us in a blink of an eye which athletes need to be addressed to a nutritionist, which athlete we need to talk about with the coach, with the SNC, to know whatever we have to do. So how we periodize? Now that we have a system, we know whatever we do, how we should organize our periodization. First of all, what can be periodized? Okay, because we talk about periodization, but all the time for training. But the reality is different. We can periodize training, we can periodize recovery, we can periodize nutrition. That's what I'm talking about today. We can periodize psychological skills, and we can periodize technical skills. So everything basically can be periodized, and if you do well, you periodize everything together so that it makes sense and it's periodized according to your goal. What could look like weight periodization? So obviously, the more tolerance you have is during the off season. You have an acceptable weight gain. It should be limited, but okay. You adapt the energetic intake to the energy requirements. So basically you decrease a little bit the energetic intake. Then you go in most of the year, you are in the weight maintenance phase. Okay, you optimize the nutrition according to the training. So what you want is just the athletes to perform. At every single session, you want the athletes to perform. If you have a scope for body composition optimization, you're gonna do it progressively and slowly. Then you have the weight loss phase. This phase is a little bit different because then body composition is important. It's one of the priorities. So sometimes the training needs to be adapted also according to the fact that you are decreasing the caloric intake, so you are a little bit more prone to fatigue and you have a little bit less good recovery. This is the moment also you can start, for example, some potential ergogenic supplementation like beta-alanine. And you need a training load management system to tightly regulate whatever you do with your athlete in that specific situation. Then there is the rapid weight loss. The acute weight loss is the moment where you follow a very specific techniques to drop very quickly weight. During the weight loss phase, what you want is to drop fat. During the rapid weight loss, the last week, you don't drop fat. It's not the moment, it's too late. What you drop is glycogen store. You decrease the content of the intestine. So it's like more fat-free mass. It's actually your muscle mass or your water which is dropping, or your energy store. but it's very different. You're not dropping fat at that moment. So usually you are in the tapering phase. I hear Santiago talked about the tapering phase. So tapering phase often 1-2 weeks before the competition. So these acute weight loss strategies, they fall into that tapering phase. At that moment, you continue. If you are under a specific ergogenic supplementation, you're gonna continue it. Then you start the competition phase. Then you just come from the acute weight loss phase, so you're gonna recover aggressively. And what you want is to bring back as much water and glycogen store, carbohydrate store in your muscle as you can. And sometimes you can use some other ergogenic supplements like caffeine acutely to improve your performance and decrease the fatigue. So this is the cycle where an athlete in combat sports should go through according to the phase of the year and according to his need in terms of his weight. In boxing, there is one specific thing is that you give the weight potentially every day. So the rapid weight loss technique and competition phase can be periodized on a daily basis during the competition. That's exactly what we did with Nikat Zarin for the national championship in 2018, where she made all this within 5 months, and then on a daily basis she was losing weight, recovering in the morning, and then losing weight in the evening again and again and again, like that until the end of the competition. So this is very specific to boxing. How does it look like? The same period, the same phases, what we have. First, we have the weight. So how does it look like? Off season, we obviously have a little gain of weight. Weight maintenance, either we keep it or sometimes we drop slowly, but most of the time we can keep it like that. Okay, and then you go in the weight loss period. You drop weight quickly. Then at the last period, acute weight loss, you continue to drop weight. And then because of the recovery techniques you use, you bring back some weight just before the bout. Okay, but now this is just weight. This doesn't tell you whatever you gain or lost. Let's talk about fat mass now. What we should do, we have a gain in fat mass during off season. During the weight maintenance phase or slow weight loss phase, you drop progressively some fat. Then you enter the weight loss phase where you want to drop fat as much as you can. During the acute weight loss phase, in the last 1 week before the competition, at that time, you don't lose fat mass anymore. And during the competition phase, also your fat mass will remain the same. This is a very short timeline. You cannot change fat mass during such a short timeline. However, fat-free mass is different. So fat-free mass, how does it should look like? Fat-free mass during the off-season, if you do well, it will not change. If you do bad, it will drop. In the weight maintenance, you train a lot, so most of the time you gain some muscle mass. During the weight loss, the goal is to maintain muscle mass. It's not anymore the time where you're gonna gain so much strength and power. So you just try to keep the ability where they are and the muscle mass where they are. At the moment of the acute weight loss, because you manipulate the water, the glycogen store, the carbohydrate store, the content of the intestine, at that moment you lose fat-free mass, and that's why you lose weight actually. So during this phase, you lose weight because you lose fat mass, and then you continue to lose weight because you lose fat-free mass. But this, if you manage well, because of the recovery techniques, you can quickly put on fat-free mass, you recover your water, you recover your glycogen store, and then you compete actually 2-3 kg above the weight category. So this is how we try to manage and to optimize the performance and the health of the athletes throughout the year, throughout their periodization. So weight maintenance, what you want? You assess regularly the athletes. and you set some body composition goal. That's the moment also you ask yourself what is the best weight category possible. That's where we come back to the safe weight loss concept. Usually in that phase, it's a slow and progressive decrease in fat. And if necessary, a progressive increase in fat-free mass. Obviously, your main goal with the nutrition is to optimize the training quality and periodize the nutrition according to the training goals. Let's say you want more endurance, you can do some kind of fast training in before the breakfast or something like that, because you want specifically to train your endurance. So those are advanced techniques which are not the subject of today, but many things are possible to optimize training quality. Then you enter the weight loss plan. So the weight loss plan, I wanted to show you this recent review, which show that, okay, the normal amount of protein an active person is taking is 0.8 to 1 gram per kg, right? For weight maintenance, which is for most of the athletes, the normal amount of protein they need for recovery, for adaptation, 1.3 to 1.6, even up to 2 grams per kg of protein. But recently we discovered that most probably we need higher amount of protein beyond the normal amount of protein during the weight loss period, because it gives many recovery advantage, sleep advantage. It's switch off the hunger, it limit the hunger, it increase the satiety, and it protect the muscle mass. So that's why in the weight loss period, we're gonna go for higher protein intake. So we create a caloric deficit during the weight loss period. The higher the caloric deficit, the higher the protein intake should be. Sometimes because you drop so much the calorie, multivitamin and fish oil supplements could be useful to make sure that you have the essential fatty acids and the essential vitamins and minerals. Also, something I really like to do is one of the nutritional techniques to increase recovery is the pre-sleep protein snack. So basically, you're gonna take either protein from food or protein from protein powder like whey. You're gonna take 20 to 60 grams, depending on your body size, just before going to bed, 30 minutes before going to bed. And this is really helpful. I have many athletes on hard diet plan, very hard diet weight loss plan. When they take that, they actually sleep really better. So this is the kind of strategy you can put in place during a weight loss plan. The harder the weight loss plan is, the more you need multivitamin, fish oil, the more you need more protein, the more you need the pre-sleep protein snack. How does it look like? For example, so here is an athlete who was losing weight, just a little banana before the morning break, the morning training, to make sure that there is some carbohydrates and his immune system is not too much stressed by the morning training. Then breakfast is actually some kind of normal with 1 slice of bread, 3 boiled eggs, glass of milk, a serving of fruit. So some kind of carbohydrates in the breakfast, a little bit of peanut butter. So you see the breakfast is not that hard. However, from the lunch, we are only on vegetable with no fat, no ghee, 3-4 pieces of chicken. Okay, we can use paneer, but if you use paneer, then you have to choose a low-fat paneer. In the afternoon, 2 glasses of curd. So as you see, it's only protein mainly. So this is our protein snack of the afternoon. Then at dinner with 2 eggs would be better. However, vegetable, low-fat serving, basically it's the same than the lunch. So low-fat, big serving of vegetable, 3-4 pieces of low-fat chicken or low-fat paneer. And then before bed, because it's a young athlete, I wasn't using whey protein, so just 2 glasses of milk before going to bed at night. So that was to optimize for his weight loss plan. So as you can see, it's quite hard. plenty of vegetable, plenty of protein, but not so much of carbohydrates and not so much of fat. So very low caloric intake. Then from this period where you actually lost some fat, you go into the weight loss strategy, acute weight loss strategy. So this is not anymore fat you target. What you want is in kind of drying the body from his energy store to lose 1-2 kg and then decreasing the content of the intestine, and then potentially sometimes you go for dehydration, but this is the last option because here is the risk, the life-threatening risk. Okay, so first option is low carbohydrates. So how you do that? Basically, you suppress most of the food rich in carbohydrates, fruits, grains, bread, juice. However, these come with consequences. You have an increase in fatigue, you have a decrease in ability to repeat high intensity effort, so you have to plan your training accordingly. You have some hunger, you crave for sweets, you really want to eat sugars because your brain is just not happy, actually very upset, and asks you to give some sugar. And then sometimes you have sleep disturbances. To recover from that specific strategy, it's very high intake of carbohydrates, around 1 gram per kg of carbohydrates every 3-4 hours. Actually, my technique is every 2 hours to make sure that we do everything in the morning. And if you want to store carbohydrate in your muscle and your liver, you will need water also. So this is the low glycogen store technique. I drop the glycogen store of my muscle and liver. Then the second option is starting to decrease the residue in your intestine. So the low carbohydrate diet was actually starting 1 week before the competition, while this low residue diet, you can start it only 1 or 2 days before the competition, before the weighting. Okay, at that time you reduce vegetable, you increase protein, you decrease fruits, nuts, everything that is rich in fibers, basically you kick it out. You reduce global food intakes. What you want is actually that there is little byproduct of food in your intestine. So it doesn't keep water, it doesn't keep fibers, and you basically have very small amount of food residues in your intestine. However, it can increase your hunger, it can increase your constipation, and somehow a little bit your fatigue. To recover from that, you have to be really careful, because if you did a really strict low residue diet, then you may have to resume fibers from fruit and vegetable progressively. That's the only view, because if you resume it too fast, your intestine could be upset. And the last option is dehydration. The dehydration technique that we absolutely want to avoid is passive sweating, like sauna, because sauna is specifically impacting on the plasma, so the water of the blood. While when you restrict your hydration, your drinking, then it's a little bit different. It's not so much the plasma which is reduced. So the first option is to reduce drinking. And the second option is to simply do more exercise with active sweating. The last option, which personally I decided to not use ever, is sweating jacket and sauna, because this is what bear the highest risk of hyperthermia, rhabdomyolysis. So, and some kind of heat illness, actually, if we talk about that, and there is a fatal risk. So these dehydration techniques I limit my approach to fluid restriction if really we are so close to the weight and there is no option to go in a higher category. So I described to you all the rapid weight loss strategy, and then when you underwent that, how do you recover from that? The priorities to recover from the acute weight loss strategies are refueling and rehydrating. carbohydrates, water, and electrolytes. Carbohydrates in huge quantity, water accordingly. So if you take 150 or 200 grams of carbohydrate, you will need 1 liter or 2 liters of water with it. And you make sure that you take sodium and potassium also with it to equilibrate the electrolyte balance of your body. At the moment of the recovery, after the weighting, protein are not necessary. That's not the priority. That was before. At the moment after weighting, you don't have to take whey. You take it after the bout. But right now after weighting, it's not necessary. Obviously, you have to avoid fatty foods, junk foods like chocolates or whatever food you can imagine. I know the athletes was starving before. He wants to eat whatever he wants, but it's actually detrimental for his performance. So he should focus on things like fruits, juice, banana, bread, biscuits. Those things are good. How does it look like? For example, no drinks, no food before the weighting. Immediately after the weighting, 1 liter of sport drinks or 1 liter of juice, 2-3 banana, 2-3 slices of bread, 1-2 cup of black coffee. Why black coffee? Because there is caffeine, and caffeine is potentially increasing performance during the bout that is coming. 1 hour and a half or 2 hours after this first snack, you can repeat a little bit less, but still sport drinks or juice, and then banana, slice of bread, 1-2 cup of coffee. Okay, so this will increase the carbohydrate, will increase the water, help recover the glycogen store, and provide the caffeine, which can help in the first bout. And then before bouts, we can go for only sport drinks or juice. If there is really, really high space between bouts, like in boxing, if there is really big time, and the next bout is the next day, then you will have to cycle and resume the weight loss technique, the acute weight loss technique, which is very specific to boxing. So basically, you will have only the time before the bout to recover, and then you will have to switch back to the technique you used in the days before the weigh-in. So what you should do is in general, is eat according to the needs, adapt hydration according to the weight loss during practice, and manage your weight over time as per the global plan I gave you. What you shouldn't do is check the weight after practice, because you only assess a body which just lost some water. And you shouldn't skip meals. I've seen that so many times at IAS athletes, not going to lunch, not going to snack, only eating 2 meals a day. If you don't eat at the moment you want to lose weight, you will not lose weight, because the body is already in resistance to the weight loss. So it's important to meet your energy requirements, and then you can start a weight loss from that period. Don't think that an athlete who is eating a lot is necessarily fat and overweight. Training requires energy, requires nutrients. The more you train, the more you need food. And it's a healthy cycle. At the moment you start the weight loss, if the athlete wasn't eating enough before, he will not lose weight properly. Increased weighting voluntarily obviously fall into the dehydration techniques, and it's really not what I advise to do. Practical examples now, just to finish. So I give you this. You can see clearly there is 2 patterns here. So this athlete has weight maintenance, which was actually a little weight gain because it's a young athlete who was 17 at that time, increasing progressively his weight and then dropping quickly. You see the weight loss phase like that, a little slowdown, and then up to approximately 2 weeks after this weight assessment, because he left IAS at that time, he was doing the competition. Then he came back at that weight. The weight maintenance phase, because of the growth, this weight maintenance phase is actually not a weight maintenance phase. So he reached this very high weight and then drop again to go in the 63 category. But because of this, we had a couple of discussions with this athlete to say you need to go in a higher category, because now, because you grew, you're not going to make it, because this athlete was also very, very fit. So he was basically here at around 9% body fat, and here he was at 6% body fat. As you can see, during the process, there is not a perfect maintenance of the fat-free mass, the muscle mass. The muscle mass also is dropping, obviously a little bit less than the weight, but still you have a drop in fat mass, and then you recover the fat-free mass, you recover a little bit of it, but not like before. And then again in fat-free mass, and then again lose. So even with the best nutritional strategy, you cannot expect to completely keep the muscle mass if you go for a very, very hard diet. So this was an example of a boy, and here is the example of Nika Zarin in 2018. As you can see, we monitored most of the parameters, fat percentage, global fat mass, weight, and the difference with the target weight in kg. So as you can see, the progressive decrease here, right? And progressive decrease in fat mass also, with obviously in the last period, the drop of the weight is the highest. So it's also the moment where the plan was the hardest, and where the fat loss was the highest. However, look at here. I didn't put the fat-free mass here, but obviously in the last moment, the fat-free mass dropped a lot. So we didn't drop so much fat the last week. We actually lost most of the weight loss was muscle mass. Thank you very much. I hope this was not too long. And if there is some question, I would be very happy to answer.
Okay, let's see if we have some questions. From Ibrahim and Salak. During the bout, which drink can we give to improve recovery? That I can answer. During the bout, we are only allowed to give water. During the bout, we can only give water, and we cannot not even bring our water, but we will get the water bottle at the ring or before. There was a big discussion many years ago in professional boxing when coaches were starting to give Gatorade and other of these energy drinks, and they allowed in some organizations. Kevin, do you have any comment on that? Though they fight longer bouts, 12 rounds, does it make sense to get something with electrolytes?
In the boxing duration, even professional duration, it's not endurance. So basically the recommendation up to 75 minutes are that carbohydrate will not help as a fuel. However, there could be an effect because you have some very specific sensor in the mouse, and in the mouse is perceiving the carbohydrate, and just because of the feedback on the brain, you can have a little performance effect. So basically, when you take carbohydrate during practice or during a very long bout, like in professional boxing, it can help. But it will help because you rinse your mouth with the carbohydrate, not because you swallow it.
So in our boxing, we don't have that problem during the bout because we can only take water.
Yeah, in amateur boxing, basically, if you want the effect, mostly I would say it's before, because it's very short. It's before. So 15 minutes or 5 minutes before the bout, you can actually rinse the mouth, and then it should make the effect for the entire duration of the bout.
Bibin Jasib, this is a very general question. Sir, my student is now 59. He is to play in 56. How can I manage his weight?
Just like I explained. So basically what you need to know now is first his age. First of all, his age. Because an athlete which is growing, you want him to be fit. Obviously, you don't want an obese or overweight, very fat boxer. That makes sense. You want a fit adolescent or whatever. But you don't drop weight. You don't do this kind of very advanced technique with a young boxer, because if you stunt his growth, that's actually bad for his performance. So we need to have bigger plan for our athletes and make sure that we want them to perform at senior level. If he's at senior level or late stage of junior level, then we can start to go into something very advanced. And at that time, you need first to assess, okay, weight is not the answer. What is the answer is what is the fat percentage. And if the fat percentage in that weight, the fat percentage should be 8% at the moment of the bout, maximum. In World Championship or Olympic Championship, it's gonna be that or even lower. So at that time, you need to assess if your athlete is 13% body fat, then he needs to see a nutritionist, drop it to below 10%. He's gonna train at 9 or 10% body fat. At the moment he make the weight, he's gonna drop even more to 7-8% and make the weight.
Let me see, from Vimal Singh. Sir, the diet will remain the same during weight loss because in India, the weather conditions are very different in north and south. North is cold and south is little hotter than north.
So basically what is important is to individualize the hydration. If you train in hot weather, you need to know that you will sweat more, so you have to provide more water. That is a first element. Second element is about periodization. So if you know that your athletes, wherever he trains, he's gonna perform in hot weather, you know that you're gonna go in a country where it's hot. So that you need to anticipate months before and maybe do some kind of mesocycle of heat acclimatation. And during that heat acclimatation, you need to know that he's gonna perform better in heat. However, he's gonna put on a little half or 1 kg of water in the blood because of heat disacclimation. So he needs to monitor the weight carefully, drop a little bit the fat because he's gonna increase the water in his body. So it's about assessment, anticipating where he's gonna perform, and obviously during the time of the training, you make sure that he's well hydrated.
Okay, Ramadar, how many weeks before competition should an athlete start weight loss program?
So that I put it in the program. So for me, it depends on the percentage above the weight. So basically, for me, an athlete is permanently an athlete in combat sport is permanently trying to optimize. So if you're gonna perform at 7% body fat, you know that during the weight maintenance phase, during the training phase, where you try to increase your physical qualities, you should be around 9. You cannot drop from 15 and go to 7. It's not possible. So you need to maintain and to prepare to be close, 9-10% maximum. And then depending on how much weight you are, you need to anticipate. If you are, let's say, at 11% or 12% body fat, okay, 6 weeks before the competition, and you are in the red zone, so you need to start now, 6 to 8 weeks before. You need to start. Nikat is a very good example. She was coming back from an injury. So she came in September for December. And she has been clever because in between she went back home, she gained a little bit of weight, but it's okay. Because she has taken so much time, she has anticipated so much, she could afford to regain a little bit of fat in the middle and then drop again. If you wake up 2-3 weeks before, it's too late. So 6 to 8 weeks is actually the time to drop something like 3-4% of your body weight. Okay, 8% you will need you will need to drop 3-4% during this period, and then you go for acute weight loss, and the last week you're gonna drop 2-3%, and then you're gonna globally make it. But again, it depends on the body composition of your athletes. If your athletes has a lot of fat to lose, you will need a lot of time. if your athlete is only needs only acute solution, then you're gonna manage everything very close to the competition.
Okay, we take last two questions. From Gula Mustafa, I have a boxer, his weight is not gained. So what I do? Gain his weight approximately 6 kilos. He wants to go up in weight.
Yeah. The first point is it shouldn't be fat, because there is no advantage to gain fat. Maybe in the belief it's like if I'm heavier, I'm stronger, but it's not the case. Whatever you gain in fat, you don't gain anything in strength, and you lose it in stamina, in endurance, and in quickness in the movement or injury. So there is only one solution for gaining weight. It's to gain muscle mass and strength. Because if he do a lot of hypertrophy without heavy weight, he's gonna gain muscle, but that's gonna be heavy and non-functional also. So the only good solution is actually to start a periodized program with hypertrophy strength, so that you make sure that you increase strength as much as you increase weight, to make sure that the functional ability of the player is the same. Obviously, nutrition will help. As soon as the training is planned, then the nutrition should be planned accordingly, with the right amount of calories, the right amount of protein, and everything else, and a regular assessment to make sure that he's not putting on fat, but he's putting on muscle mass, and also some kind of testing to make sure that functionality is improving as much as the weight.
Yeah, I would say very difficult to increase 6 kilos. If it is a lightweight, then he should box in a lighter weight category, number one. If it is, probably he's talking about a heavier weight boxer, but like you said, Kevin, cannot focus on the weight. So let's say 181 kilo who jumps up to 91 and he's on 85. So the weight in itself, we have to train up a little extra, more strength training, but he can box 85, 86, 87 and box in 91 kilo. Just because he reaches the weight 91 kilo with a lot of fat will not make him a better boxer.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Ramanand. Boxing is a game that is completely dependent on specific weight, but it is always advised weight control should be discouraged to young children. In this regard, I would like to know what would be the specific age for maintaining weight?
So basically, what is advised is to record the growth of the athlete. So you need to assess the peak height velocity, know when your athlete is growing, because you can take two boys and you will have one boy still growing up very fast at 16 and another it's finished at 13. So in lightweight, in very small weight category, often it's boxers who grew up very early and they don't grow up very late. While in heavyweight category, those guys are very tall, so they tend to grow very late in age. But that's a general. What you need to know is that the growth is finished. You don't reduce drastically the energetic intake of an athlete during the growth. So you wait to actually do some aggressive weight loss. You just wait that the height is reached, and at that time you can start those kind of periodization. But yeah, generally I had that question, for example, in another training center, which report many young boxers with their growth stunt. This is a big problem. You cannot make a champion if you stop the growth in the middle of the development. This is just acute performance. You make maybe a national champion, but you're not going to make a senior champion. You just have to let them grow. And then when it's finished, then you can start. That means you have to assess your athlete. That's monitoring.
Yeah, I want to say that from my own experience, many kids, they copy the adults. They see this champion is putting on the sweatsuit, So he's going to the sauna. So they want to do the same. They are 12, 13, and they don't understand the consequences, and the coaches don't understand the consequences. So here we need to guide them to a healthy relationship to the weight management, and they will grow. They will grow. As long as they grow, we cannot stop their growing. Okay, I think questions are repeating, and time is running. Okay, we will continue tomorrow. We have Colonel Ashok about some refereeing, some judging refereeing. Kevin, thank you so much. Great lecture, and we will put the presentation in the BFI website, so you can have it from there. And we see you everybody tomorrow. Thank you very much.